heavily rumored. Hey everybody, we're Workforce Gaming. I'm Doug, along with Brad.
Hey, everybody.
And leading up to E3, we're gonna be breaking down each conference and just kind of talking about what we're excited about at each of these conferences. I think a big thing about E3 is that you don't really know what's going to happen. So we talk about the things that we know are we've at least have been announced or at least heavily rumored, um, and see just kind of and then talk about maybe some of the big surprises that'll be coming out of E3. So as part of this, to start off some of the big three conferences like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, we're gonna start with Microsoft. And whew, okay.
See, okay, now you're gonna get into this because you don't give a shit. Now let me let me pause here for a second because you just stated the exact reason why I'm excited for Microsoft, and that is E3 comes down to surprises.
Yeah.
And right now, Microsoft, it's gonna be all surprises the whole time, with the exception of Scorpio.
Hmm.
We know pretty much Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2, which I don't care about. I don't.
Yeah.
Those games are not games for me.
Yeah.
Neither one of them. I don't care about either one. But the fact of the matter is, they're launching a new console, Scorpio, which I also
Yeah.
don't care too much about. But I have my Xbox One sitting here, and I cannot tell you a single game Microsoft has slated for release other than those two between now and 2019.
Crackdown 3.
Sony, yeah, okay, Crackdown 3, but that's still like, we don't know much about that. We know
Yeah.
there's some weird cloud thing, and they've like redefined what that game is like 6 times over the past 2 years.
Mhm.
But looking at it, I'm almost to the point where I could see this being a Sony from last year, where just Phil Spencer gets out there. Now, I don't think it's going to be to that level, but I think that's going to
Yeah.
be the approach they need to go to because we don't know. It's going to be, okay, first thing out, boom, here's this. That looks pretty sweet. Okay, just keep it rolling. We've also got this coming. We've also got this coming. Oh yeah, here's Forza. Go ahead, just go to the bathroom really quick. Here's Forza. Okay, now we've got this, right? I think it's going to
Yeah.
be, I think, and Sony, or sorry, not Sony, but Microsoft, I feel like has kind of been playing catch up the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be their response to Sony last year, where Sony went through and went, we got God of War, we got Spider-Man, we got Days Gone, which, whatever. We've got Death Stranding. We've got this. We've got this. We've got this. We got God of War. And they went through all these things. I can almost see Microsoft doing that because at this point, everything's been canceled or just not even said what they're doing. So
See, but okay, the problem is like I have those same thing, those exact same words, not exact same words, but same like sense of enthusiasm came out for Microsoft's E3 2016. I was super excited for Microsoft's E3 2016 because I thought they had to beat Sony's 2015, which is like Last Guardian, Shenmue, Final Fantasy, and a bunch of other games that aren't coming out for decades. But like, so I had thought that Microsoft was gonna like pull through, do it for E3 2016, and they just did a Microsoft press conference. And I understand like there's too much pressure on them. They got especially because of Sony's like really cool. Just it was a really cool press conference last year. That like they do need to pull out all the stops, but like I don't even know what all the stops are for Microsoft at this point. Like I really just don't even know. Like the biggest thing that
well,
came out last E3 was the backwards compatibility for Xbox 360.
but no, because you had, if you think about it, now again, a lot of this didn't pan out the way, but at the time,
Yeah.
you had Gears 4 was getting more information, which I loved Gears 4. Gears 4 was
Yeah.
one of my was one of my games of the years last year.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves got that. It's really just not my thing, but it had that trailer where it had people playing it that people loved.
I'm weirdly excited about that game. I do like that
Yeah,
one.
exactly. And now again, this was like one of my favorite games of E3 last year. It's not coming out, but that was Scalebound, right? They had Scalebound, like it's not coming out, but
Yeah.
that was awesome. Recore didn't end up living up to potential, but that had a
cool.
really cool trailer and looked really interesting, and I'm still
Yeah.
interested to play that. You had Halo Wars 2, you had State of Decay 2.
Mhm.
Now, some of these games I don't think were in my wheelhouse, so to speak, but there was enough there that it was like, okay, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think coming out this year, I think Microsoft needs to sell Scorpio as something other than a last-ditch effort to save the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they do that is they go through and they go, you know what? This is the most powerful. Yep, we'll take our 5 minutes. We'll go, yep, this is the best. This is the most powerful. It looks
Yeah.
prettier. Your PlayStation 4 Pro, it's a pile of crap. Don't even bother with it anymore. This is the new one. They'll do that. But I think at this point in the way this generation has gone,
Yeah.
I think they're understanding that, or at least I hope they're understanding that what sells systems is games. When you look at the PlayStation
Yeah.
4, the reason that thing took off is because Sony went games, 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 games. You look at the Switch, the only reason the Switch is selling is because it has arguably one of the best games of the last 10 years
Yeah.
on that system.
Yeah.
Games sell systems. And I think that's what
Mhm.
they're seeing now. And hopefully, with the Scorpio coming out, they have a response to that. And that's my hope with this. And like you said, E3 is that mystery piece of what's going to be there. And I'm
Yeah.
just looking at it going, there has to be something.
But see, the thing is, like, I totally agree that, like, I think because to me as well, because I think like with when they Sony announced the PS4, like they just announced the games. They didn't even show you the box or anything. They didn't really. I mean, they talked about the gigawatts or whatever, but like they announced it. They just showed the games before they even showed the box. But I feel like just because Microsoft is so on top, like saying like, oh, this is the best hardware. This is the best. They keep talking about the hardware. Like I feel like that to me is indicated they've already missed the point. I feel like the Scorpio is a response to. Do you remember like when PS4 and Xbox One first came out? There's all these articles from like Digital Foundry and stuff about how like every single Xbox One game ran at 900p, while like the PS4 one ran at 1080p.
Yeah.
So that was huge. That was big for like a long time. But I think the narrative sort of shifted to Sony has all these games now. Where's Microsoft games? Like they don't even care. Like honestly, you'll see like the articles of like 900p. It's just like, yep, that's just what it is. Like nobody cares about that. Like people just don't care about that. So when Microsoft is saying, hey, we got the best hardware, it's like that's not what we care. Well, that's not what I care about. I mean, that's not what.
But I think,
Yeah, you know what I mean.
and
So
I think
to me,
there's enough
they've
people.
already missed the boat. Like they've. I don't think they have. I don't think they have a. I think they have one super cool game. I don't think they have like a plethora of super cool games.
But I don't even think they need a plethora of super cool games. I think you need your one big one. You need
Yeah.
you need that one big crazy cool new IP. You need your Horizon, so to speak, to put
Oh
it in
yeah,
Sony terms.
that's a good
You know
way
what
to
I
put
mean?
it. Yeah.
You need that game that's different, that you don't see coming from a first party. You know,
Yeah.
Horizon takes a lot from a lot of genres, but that's not a first party game. You don't see
Yeah.
first party studios making these big open world RPGs. You need
Yeah.
something like that. You need to have that. And then you just need to have your little things sprinkled in. Your Cuphead, your State of Decay 2, your Forza, your Sea of Thieves, one or two other little things like that, like a Halo Wars 2,
Mm-hmm.
a Gears. We probably won't see Gears 5 yet, but
Oh, I hope
you
not.
need. Yeah, it's too early for that, and they've already said Halo's not there. So
Yeah.
there's got to be those little things, and I think you can build it almost like, you know what, we've got this one thing that we're building off of, and we have these other couple little things kind of sprinkled in.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be enough to hold you over, kind of almost the way that Nintendo's doing with the Switch, where it's like, yep, you got your Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Now give it a few months. You see Mario's out there. He's coming. He's coming. But before that, you know, you've got your ARMS, you've got your Splatoon. Just,
Yeah.
you know, take some time with those, and then we'll get to Mario. And I think that's almost the approach they need to take is, okay, we've got your great, cool new IP coming.
Yeah.
Now, if you look down there far enough, look out 6 months. You can see Halo 6, right?
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Halo 6, you look out a couple, and here's your little thing. But I think that's the way Microsoft needs to approach this at this point, because frankly, they don't have the first party that Sony has. Nobody does.
Yeah. No,
Sony
I
has
think, yeah.
8 or 9 first parties that can just pump out games. Microsoft needs to live off that, like, big thing, bite-sized chunk, big thing, bite-sized chunk. And I think that's where they're at as a system at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those things can still be exciting. Like, again, you look at something like a Recore, something like a Scalebound. Those things
Mm-hmm.
pan out or not, those are things that keep people excited that aren't your Gears, your Halo, your big giant IPs.
Yeah. I think that that's actually a really good point. I think you stated it best with like they need a Horizon. I think they need a Last Guardian. I think they need a Crash Bandicoot remake. I think they need a Final Fantasy VII remake. And what I mean by that is, Sony always has like not in their pocket. I don't know what to put it, but like people are always anticipating something for Sony conference. Like there's these sort of like weird unattainable goals for a long time, which is like Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII remake. What's another one that was kind of like
Shenmue.
Maybe Shed. I don't think we expect that from Sony. But there were like these mythical Kingdom Hearts 3. There was these mythical PlayStation 4 like games that like PlayStation just they knew that they could announce at some point. Like there's just something like that was the dream game. I don't think Microsoft has a game that people dream about. You know what I mean? Like this is the game like, oh my God, I can't believe Microsoft did it. They did it. There isn't a game like that Microsoft currently has. I think they can announce a game like that. I think like you're saying, like, yeah, you put out like a Horizon. Like you throw something out that's like coming out next year. This game is just like or 2 years from now. It's gonna blow your mind. Here's a crazy trailer for it. Yes, it's gonna be like this. Yes, it's gonna do that, and then it comes out and it does. I just think people need a franchise to look forward to that isn't Halo, Gears, Forza.
Halo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
and
I think,
not Tomb Raider, because not
yeah,
somebody else's franchise.
yeah. And again, I think that's, I don't know. I think that kind of sums it up. It's they they do need those things, but if you think about it, The Last Guardian, as big as it was to people like us, that game sold probably zero copies relative to Horizon, Uncharted, those things.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But it's something that keeps the dialogue moving about your console.
yeah. It gets people excited at a conference at the very least.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's what you need. Now, Microsoft doesn't necessarily have those franchises that you can use, but that's what almost gets me more excited, because instead of looking going like, okay, we've got a team looking on Crash Bandicoot remake and we've
yeah.
got new Wipeout, or not Wipeout.
That's a fine answer.
Wipeout.
That's a fine answer. You can say that. Any PlayStation Classic sort of thing you could
Yeah.
throw in there. Yeah.
You know, you've got that kind of stuff
Parappa the
coming.
Rapper, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got that stuff coming. But to me, I can look at it and go, instead of that, which is well and good, Microsoft needs to come up with new ideas to fill those gaps. And that
Yeah.
almost gets me more excited of going like, okay, something that takes the workload of a Crash Bandicoot remaster,
Yeah.
something that takes a team, like a smaller team, have them work on something that's just going to be really cool and fill that gap. Almost like you see with Ubisoft doing those weird little indie games in between their big games.
Like Blood
You know what I
Dragon,
mean?
like the Blood Dragons, the Child of Lights, the this.
Yeah.
I,
You've got
I
the
think
coalition.
Microsoft does that pretty well though, because they have that below game. They got Cuphead. They got
Yeah, and see, and again, these are the kind of things that I think are going to get talked about, and I think those
Yeah.
are the things they need in between these big things to really get them going. But
Yeah.
with Microsoft, it's because they're these kind of different, almost indie-esque games
Yeah.
instead of remasters, which I think is what Sony uses a lot to keep the dialogue moving for a lot of the time. Is
Yeah.
oh yeah, we don't really have anything here, put a new Crash. We don't really have anything here, Gravity Rush remastered. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing where it's like, okay, there's still something to talk about with your system there,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily this big thing.
And I think Sony also has the benefit of being able to run on nostalgia,
Yes.
because they have so many freaking franchises that they can just bring back anyone. It's like, oh my god, they brought back whatever. But like Microsoft doesn't, because they just keep that like solid base of franchises. I don't think they really have that like back pocket nostalgia one like readily available. I like I
Brute Force.
Yeah, it's like the third time you brought up Brute Force. But like even like I'm trying to think like what's like the nostalgic Xbox game. The game that people talk about on Xbox is Halo. Like that was the
Yeah.
game that like people remember playing as kids, but you can still play that game. Like
Yeah.
they don't have that benefit of nostalgia. So I think they have a lot. I guess my conclusion is like I want to be as excited as you are, and like I can't wait to blow them away. I'm kind of pessimistic right now because they just keep talking about the hardware and they have not. They've been real quiet about software, like to the point of like too quiet to the point where I don't think they actually have a whole lot.
I will agree to disagree with that.
No, I want to be excited for it. I really do. I actually, we'll see. I think when we do the post E3 impressions, I hope we're talking about Microsoft a lot.
Yeah.
I actually really do because I think I would like to see Sony get knocked down a peg or two because then they come back with better games.
They're going to get to that PS2 level of arrogance, so then you're going to get some just imploding.
Yeah. Then they're gonna get PS3. I mean, with the Battlefront, the Destiny stuff, the Red Dead Redemption 2, like exclusive crap. It's like stop it.
Shut up. Nobody
Yeah.
cares.
Yeah. All right, so we are Workforce Gaming. If you guys like what you heard, we will be having more E3 videos coming up in the next weeks. Where we're going to talk about Nintendo, Sony, and the EA, Bethesda, and Ubisoft conferences. And then, of course, after E3, we'll be talking a whole lot about everything that we saw and it was announced and all that other crazy cool stuff. So if you guys like what you heard, you can subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. I'll see you guys next week.